I feel the need for speed.
Hello friends, my name is Stevie Cade and welcome to Film Trigger. Okay, so I have to admit something. I've never in my life have ever seen Top Gun, the original movie. And now with Top Gun Maverick coming out, creating all this fuzz, all this buzz, all this really big excitement, I'm just wondering why. So I went back and I watched the original Top Gun movie. I will readily admit it was not my wheelhouse of movies. That's why I've always just kind of stayed away from it. You know, the manly men movies with the military and doing the stuff. It's not my bag of tea, you know? Don't get me wrong. I like war movies sometimes, like Saving Private Ryan, like that scene in Forrest Gump. It was fun. I wasn't too excited going into it, but you know what? I get to add it into my Rolodex of knowledge when it comes to films, and that's what I do this channel for. One of the many reasons I do this channel. So before we get started, if you could, hit that thumbs up button, that subscribe button, and the little bell ding thing so you get notified every time I upload a new video. I can't grow this channel without you and your support, and I just, hopefully you like me. If you do, subscribe and do all this stuff. Without further ado, let's dive into my review for Top Gun.
Tom Cruise, Kelly McGillis. Top Gun.
I have the need for speed. Negative, Ghost Rider. Both terms that I have used my entire life. Never knew they came from this movie. So I learned something today. And just like I expected, this movie was not part of my wheelhouse. It just didn't do it for me, but I did see some good qualities in the film. So let's immediately dive into what I like about this movie. Stellar cast. Now, this was like a cast of stars before they were stars. You know, they were just up and coming rising stars. And this movie just had some of the biggest talent at the forefront of the film, and they brought their A game. This is what they're famous for. Movies like this is why they are famous, because they did a great job acting in it. It was very genuine, very organic, just pretty compelling. So when it comes to the entertainment value of how the actors were, they did it for me. They drew me in. I believe these are real characters living these real situations and doing these real things. The stunts and camera work were also very well done. This was a very well shot movie, but the stunts were they were kind of pushing the boundaries of the time. You know, they didn't use a lot of green screen that I noticed. You know, like you see like Hell's Angels and stuff like that in movies of previous time where there was just a lot of green screen, a lot of just didn't look as good. You just had to suspension of disbelief, believe that you were in the sky. This movie did not do that. It was very 100% believable because, well, a lot of it was real. There was a few shots here and there. I was like, all right, little camera trickery, but what, we still accept A New Hope from Star Wars, so it was better than that. Definitely to be noted, the camera work was very well done here.
5 weeks, you're gonna fly against the best fighter pilots in the world. You guys really are cowboys.
The cinematography is actually quite brilliant in this film. There's just a lot of shots that look really good. Either the bright orange background. Well, as a matter of fact, the one shot in this movie that was really, really good, well done, I thought. That scene when Goose had just died, he like still in the ocean, body limp, Tom Cruise crying, the whole thing. When they pan out and they show that shot of the helicopter, just all the different colors in that one shot they're unnecessarily there, but damn, does it look good. And there's quite a few shots like that in this movie, so well done to the cinematographer of this movie, which I don't know their name off the top of my head. It was very vibrant and very well produced. Our main character, Maverick, is also an antagonist of the movie. Now, typically, your main person of focus in the movie typically isn't an antagonist, or if they are, they're very lightly an antagonist. But a very notable character in more recent times that is also an antagonist of his own films is Tony Stark. He's the one that created the technology that the bad guys use to propel their own antics, hence the name antagonist. But with that being said, I was also looking for the main antagonist of the film, which I thought was going to be Iceman. I really did. He was all set up to be that kind of dick douchebaggy dude that may have actually propelled the negative side of the story. But it wasn't Iceman. As a matter of fact, Iceman is another thing I'm going to put on what I like about this movie. I thought Iceman was a very well-written character in the sense of he could have been the low-hanging fruit. What am I doing? It's weird. He could have been the easy go-to person when it comes to, oh, this is definitely our antagonist. This is the guy that needs to learn a lesson and get, beat by Maverick somehow, some way, whatever. But they didn't do that. Was he a dick to Maverick? Yeah, but rightfully so. Maverick deserved what was being told to him.
I don't like you because you're unsafe. That's right. I am dangerous.
With that being said, Iceman was actually a very honorable, a man of integrity, confident, honest, and most of all, observant. He doesn't boast, he doesn't put himself on a pedestal, and he typically stays quiet until he feels the need to, when he calls Maverick out for his bullshit, and he did, rightfully so. So Iceman, thank you, sir, for being you, because you're awesome. Now, moving on to some things I'm on the fence about when it comes to this movie. The story. The story's finite. It's its own little collected thing, like need to know too much lore going before or after it, but the little bit that you get, the story around the story that we see, seemed a little bit more interesting than the story we're being told in this movie. Like all the exciting things that led up to this point in Maverick's life seemed like a better movie than what we actually got, in my opinion. The story involving his dad, the friendship with Goose, these are things I would have really enjoyed diving deeper into. Lessons that he learned at the academy and the struggles that come with those. But we barely see any of that, and we're mostly wrapped into this oddly forced love story. Personally, I would have preferred to have seen Maverick already be in a relationship when the movie begins. I would like to see him and Goose. They have these two families. They're doing their thing. They're best friends. We get a little backstory about their friendship. They decide to join the academy together. They're going to be pilots together. They're going to fight wars together. And then when Goose dies, it would have been so much more impactful. Yes, it was a slightly impactful part of the movie, but it could have been more. It could have been a lot more if we weren't so focused on this love story thing that they were doing. I'm not saying it was a bad story. I'm just saying there was better stories to be told. But the story we got, it was okay. Hence why it's on the fence, because I'm okay with it. And another thing that I'm okay about is the realization that Charlie was the instructor after being hit on by a Maverick. I've seen that play out in hundreds of movies before. But in this movie, it still gave me a chuckle. It was played off very well. I didn't expect it. I didn't see it coming. And yeah, I genuinely laughed when I found out she was the instructor. I was like, ha ha ha, douche. Now moving on with things that I don't like about this movie. There are no stakes, there is no accountability, and absolutely no consequences for people's actions in this film. Even the big moment, Goose's death, could have easily been a pivotal part of Maverick's journey. Which, I mean, in a sense it was, but nothing more than he lost a friend, which is still an impactful thing. But when we're going to see a movie, I want there to be consequences for people's actions. Goose died, and nothing happened. No, he was actually stripped of all responsibility and said, oh, you can go back to the academy and fly starting tomorrow. It was brushed off as an honest mistake, so this leads me to another question. How are these characters supposed to develop without consequences? Simple, they don't. There's no development in this film. Let me rephrase that. There's very little development in this film. Besides Goose's family and Goose himself and this relationship, nothing grows, nothing blossoms. Everything is exactly the same as it was when this movie started. And even the relationship is kind of like a loose pass on that. Because the characters themselves are pretty much the same characters that they were at the beginning of this movie. Now they're those characters, boning each other. And I'm not exactly clear, did Charlie take that other job or not? Like, did they continue a relationship after this movie? I was a little unclear on that. If you know that answer to that question, let me know in the comments below. But is she in the sequel? I don't think so. So either way, it didn't work out. But let's say the relationship did continue. Then that would make this relationship the main point of this movie. It's what we wanted to see grow. Not what I was expecting going into this movie. I thought this movie was going to be an action-packed flight academy, moving on to war, big losses, huge consequences, big stakes. No, it's a summer fling movie. Not what I expected whatsoever. I was an hour into the movie, literally 1 hour into the movie, and I was like, what's going on? What's the point of this movie? I didn't know. I didn't realize the relationship was the point of the movie. Everything surrounding it was much more interesting. If you get rid of all that, the story that we get in the movie, the relationship part is even a smaller less interesting part of the movie. So we focus on that. We're really missing the big picture here when it comes to this film. Or maybe I am. I don't know. Now, let's fast forward to the end of the film, the big climax. We're up in the air. We're fighting real bad guys because every fighting sequence before this was a training mission. And I don't care because I don't know who they're fighting. I don't know why they're fighting them. I don't. Where were these guys during the entire movie? It's just random bad guys, bad people doing bad things because we need a big ending fight in the air or something. Which brings me to what this movie is missing, and that is a main antagonist. That's the problem with having Maverick not only be a partial antagonist, which is fine, again, Tony Stark, but what made Tony Stark an antagonist is the lesson he had to learn and go through to fight the main antagonist of a movie himself. He had to fight himself before he fought the bad guy. We don't have that here. The only antagonist we have is Maverick. There's no other person in this movie that we can be like, oh no, Maverick's got to get this guy, son of a bitch. Nope, it's not there. There's no personal situation that I care about, that I'm engaged in, that I'm emotionally invested in. It's literally end of this movie. Hey, look, bad guys, go kill them because, you know, goose or something. Okay. So when we get to that final battle, there's no actual emotional investment. I don't care about who they're fighting. I don't quite remember why they're fighting them. And it had nothing to do with the story at all. Not a thing. Again, if I'm missing something, let me know in the comments below. Maybe I don't know. Again, this movie's not for me. So maybe there's just a lot of parts that I didn't quite understand because I just maybe wasn't all there for it. I don't know. I can't explain why this movie is as popular as it is. Maybe it's an 80s thing. Maybe I missed the mark by like 5 or 6 years because I'm 40 years old right now. Maybe this is more my brother's age, who's 45. All I know is that after this movie is said and done, Maverick's future is paved out for him. He could go anywhere he wants to go, do anything he wants to do, be anything he wants to be, and he chooses to maybe be an instructor at the school. Okay. Nice. Best of the best, and you decide to dodge all the wars and all the other stuff for the safe, cushiony job being an instructor. What a waste of talent. Now, I do have a couple of petty points. Number one, how many times do you have to play Danger Zone in this fucking movie? 30 minutes into the movie, I heard the song like 5 fucking times. I get it. Highway to the Danger Zone. Cool, yeah, badass song. Worked as an opening credit. And apparently has a credit while he's riding his motorcycle and goes to the school and eats lunch, grocery shopping. Cool. It's not that good of a song. The other petty point I have is not even really a petty point as much as just a curiosity. How long was Tim Robbins in this movie? Was I that disengaged in this film that Tim Robbins was in this movie and I didn't see him until the very last fucking scene? Or was he just not in this movie until the last scene? I really want to know, but I really don't want to go back and watch the movie again. So maybe comments, let me know. Thanks. Overall, I can kind of see why people like this film. It's an interesting, finite film. It's acted very well. It's shot very well. And it's got all that adrenaline, fun, fly pilot stuff. Again, not my wheelhouse of movie. And that's okay. Movies are subjective like that. But my issue is there's no actual real character development in this movie. There's no real consequences. There's no looming threat besides basic plane crashes. And I basically found myself bored and just waiting for the plot to show up. And for all these reasons, I'm giving this movie a D.
Well, it wasn't bad.
Well, there were parts of it that weren't very good, though.
It could have been a lot better.
I didn't really like it.
Hey, listen, don't hate the player, hate the game. I gave this movie my honest critique, what I think it deserved from movies that I like. You know what? Maybe you think this movie's an A+, and that is just fine. Let me know why in the description below. Let's talk about it. Let's open a discussion. That's what we do here at Film Trigger. We like to discuss things. Or if you want to go down there and be an asshole and rant, that's fine too. I'll be an asshole and rant back. It's okay. We can have that dialogue. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. Also, be sure to check out some more of my content and videos. And as always, stay trigger happy, my friends. Peace.
I'm gonna send you up against the best. Yes, sir. You two characters are going to Top Gun.